Hello everyone, this is Parth Shah and my project partner is Mayank Patel. We will give the presentation on Android operating system. So these are the topics that we will going to cover. So history of Android. The Android operating system is most frequently used on different mobile platforms around the world. So it is occupied around 75% of seats in the worldwide market by the end of 2020. Sometimes we think that the Android is developed by the Google, but no, that is not true. The Android platform initially developed by the Android Inc. in Palo Alto, the city of California in United States. The company was founded in October 2003 by a group of 4 people: Andy Rubin, Rich Miner, Nick Sears, and Chris White. And then a company like Open Handset Alliance, widely known as OHA. So OHA is a combination of total 84 big technology companies like Sony, Dell, Google, Samsung, Intel, and many more. So has developed the first Android that depends on the customized version. As we know, that's why we have total 11 different types of versions so far. And finally, on August 17, 2005, the Google acquired Android Inc. In September 2008, the first Android device was released in the market. What is Android? Android is a mobile operating system based on modified version of the Linux kernel and other open source software. It is designed particularly for touchscreen mobile devices like smartphones and tablets that we are using. The operating system has developed a lot since last 15 years, starting from black and white phones to recent smartphones or mini computers. It is free and open source software. Its source code is known as Android Open Source Project, which is AOSP, and it is primarily licensed under the Apache license. Basically, AOSP contains everything that developers needs to build Android application. However, AOSP cannot provide the kernel device drivers for every hardware configuration due to some security reasons. Mobile operating system is also referred to as mobile OS, which includes touchscreen, cellular, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, GPS mobile navigation, HD camera, video camera, speech recognition, music player, and voice recorder, and browser. Now, Android architecture. Android operating system contain a stack of software component layers, which are application layer, application framework layer, native libraries, Linux kernel. and as well as Android runtime. Let's start with application layer. Applications are on the top layer of Android operating system. It has some pre-installed applications like home, contacts, settings, gallery, etc. And also third-party applications downloaded from the Play Store like games, chatting applications, browsers, etc. will be installed on this layer only. The user of the Android device directly interacts with this layer. All Android application is written in Java programming language or Kotlin. Application framework layer. The application framework layer contains all the Android APIs like user interface, telephony, resources manager, locations, content providers, package managers, and many more, as you can see in this picture. So this layer contains a collection of classes and interfaces for Android application development. Using that classes, we can create an Android application. So basically, it provides some of the services. With the help of that services, we can create a classes or interface according to our application requirement. Native library. It contains WebKit, OpenGL, FreeType, SQLite, Media Framework, C Runtime Library, etc. So these all libraries are written in C or C++ programming language. To display HTML on browser engine used WebKit library. So WebKit is is open source web browser engine that provides all the functionalities to display web content and to display 2D or 3D graphics content to the screen. SGL and OpenGL is used. So SGL and OpenGL both are the cross-platform programming language. We can use that to create the APIs, which is application program interface, and that APIs we can use for 2D or 3D graphics. Surface Manager is used to manage display of device. SQLite is the database used for data storage, and SSL, which is a secure socket layer, is security technology to establish an encrypted link between the web browsers and web servers. Android runtime. Android runtime environment is one of the most important part of Android because it contains some of the components like core libraries and the Dalvik virtual machine, which is known as DVM. Like JVM, Java Virtual Machine, here we have Dalvik Virtual Machine, which is the specially designed for Android to ensure that all the devices can run multiple instances efficiently. Mainly, it provides the base for the application framework and powers our application with the help of these code libraries. The Dalvik virtual machine makes use of Linux core features like memory management and multi-threading. which is written in Java or Kotlin programming language. Linux kernel layer. It is the bottom layer and heart of the Android operating system. It does not interact directly with the developers because it contains many important hardware device drivers like display driver, keypad driver, camera driver, flash memory driver, and binder IPC driver. So IPC means inter-process communication driver. The main work of IPC driver is to accessing the data from the server process, and it is also responsible for security, power management, memory management, device management, and resource access.
Next topic is difference between ART and Dalvik. Before starting this topic, I would like to explain what is ART and Dalvik. Let's start with ART. ART stands for Android Runtime. When we build our app and generate APK, part of that APK are .dex files. Those files contains the source code of our app, including all libraries that we use in low-level code design for software interpreter, the bytecode. When a user runs our app, that bytecode written in .dex file is translated by Android Runtime into the machine code, a set of instructions that can be directly understood by the machine and it's processed by the CPU. ART introduced ahead of time AOT compilation. AOT compiles your code to the native platform dependent upon the architecture. The reason we will use AOT is because it has a drastically reduced startup time and app performance. What is Dalvik? In the early days, Android smartphones were not so powerful as now. Most phones at a time have very little RAM, so of them even as little as 200 MB. No wonder the first Android runtime, known as Dalvik, was implemented to optimize exactly this one parameter RAM usage. So instead of compiling the whole app to machine code before running it, it used the strategy called just-in-time compilation. In this strategy, the compiler works a little bit as an interpreter. It compiles small chunks of code during the execution of the app. And because Dalvik only compiles the code that it needs and does it at runtime, it allows saving a lot of RAM. Let's start with difference between ART and Dalvik. First difference is approach. ART uses AOT ahead of time approach and compiles the whole code during the installation time, but the Dalvik uses JIT just-in-time approach and compiles only a part of the code during installation and rest of the code will be compiled dynamically. Second difference is booting time. As compared to Dalvik, ART takes more time to reboot because the cache is built at the first time, so the booting is slow. Third difference is space. Since ART uses the AOT approaches, so it needs more space during installation, while Dalvik uses the JIT approach, so for mobile phones having less storage can use the Dalvik. Fourth difference is battery. ART increases battery performance to a large extent because AOT approach, while the Dalvik uses the JIT approach, and this result in more battery utilization. Fifth difference is garbage collection. ART use better garbage collection than Dalvik, so DVM uses JIT have a lot of drawbacks that were replaced by ART. So from Android 4.4 KitKat, ART was introduced as runtime, and finally from Android 5.0 Lollipop, the Dalvik was completely replaced by ART. Next topic is how APK is run. Before starting this topic, I would like to explain what is Zygote. Zygote is a special Android OS process that enables shared code across Dalvik ART VM in contrast with Java VM, where each instance has its own copy of core library, class, files, and heap projects. Let's start with how APK is run. First, Zygote copies itself. A process called Zygote is used to launch the app. Zygote is contains all the core libraries that are needed by any app, but it doesn't yet include any of the code that's specific to a particular app. Zygote start by preloading all classes and resources which an app may potentially need at runtime into the system memory. Zygote create a copy of itself using the fork system call. Android is a Linux system and the fork call can duplicate a process like Zygote very quickly. Zygote is designed not only to respond to fork requests by new apps, but there is one process that Zygote actually start explicitly, and that is the system server process. Second step is Android converts the .dex code to native OAT format. .dex stands for Dalvik Executable. A DEX file contains code which is ultimately executed by the Android runtime. Every APK has a single classes.dex file which reference any classes or methods used within an app. The classes compile in the DEX file format understandable by the Dalvik virtual machine. The new app process now needs to load the code that's specific to your app. Your app code is sorted in the classes.dex file inside your APK package. OAT is the file format produced by compiling a DEX file with ahead of time compilation. Before AOT came to Android, DEX OPT was used to optimize DEX to ODEX optimized DEX, which contains the optimized bytecode. With AOT, DEX to OAT is used to optimize and compile DEX into an OAT file which may contain machine code. So the classes.dex file is extracted from the .apk and placed into a separate directory. But rather than simply place a copy of the classes.dex file, Android will convert the Dalvik bytecode in classes.dex into native machine code. Third step is the app loads the native library. This native library is then mapped directly into the memory of the app process, and from there the app will start the initially activity and app will appear on the screen. Next topic is features. First, beautiful user interface. Android operating system basic screen provides a beautiful and intuitive user interface. Second, connectivity. Android supports connectivity technologies including GSM, Edge, IDEN, CDMA, EVDO, UMTS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, LTE, NFC, and WiMAX. Android supports tethering, which allows a phone to be used as a wireless wired Wi-Fi hotspot. Bluetooth support voice dialing and sending contact between phones, playing music, sending files, accessing the phone book, and keyboard, mouse, and joystick support is available in Android 3.1 and above, and in earlier version through manufacturer customization and third-party applications. Third, storage. SQLite, a lightweight relational database, is used for data storage purpose. Fourth, multi-touch. Android has native support for multi-touch, which was initially made available in handsets such as HTC Hero. Fifth, messaging. SMS, MMS, C2DM stands for Cloud to Device Messaging. GCM stands for Google Cloud Messaging. Sixth, multitasking. User can jump from one task to another and same time various applications can run simultaneously. There are also have many other features like autocorrection and dictionary, voice-based features, screen capture, etc. Next topic is version. The major update for Android was version 1.5 in 2009. Cupcake had new features such as upload video to YouTube, automatic screen rotation, third-party keyboard support for widgets. Also in 2009, Google released Android 1.6 Donut, and the new features included the quick search box, the power controlling widgets to manage Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS. 1 year after the launch of the first version of Android, the second version appeared, Android Eclairs. This was the first version with text-to-speech support, live wallpapers, Google Map navigation. Android 2.2 Froyo was launched in 2010, and the new features included mobile Wi-Fi hotspot, push notification via Android Cloud to device messaging, and the ability to lock the phone with PIN. Android 2.3 Gingerbread was launched in 2010. The new version of Android had an updated UI design, support for NFC function, improved keyboard, support for multi-touch, and support for the front camera. In 2011, Android 3.0 Honeycomb was released to be installed only on tablets and phones with larger screens and had functions that could not be managed on phones with similar screens. The next version of Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich was released in 2011 and combines many of the features of the Honeycomb version. In 2012, Google released Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, and immediately after the version 4.2 and 4.3 were released, these versions introduced access by swiping the screen to access the calendar, email, or weather. The launch of Android 4.4 KitKat took place in 2013 and had many interesting features such as the OK Google command. Android 5.0 Lollipop was launched in 2014. After this version, VM Dalvik has been replaced with Android Runtime. Android 6.0 Marshmallow was launched in 2015 and brought important changes and features such as support for biometric fingerprint unlocking, USB Type-C support, Android Pay. In 2016, Google released Android 7.0 Nougat and included improved multitasking features, especially for devices with larger screen. Android 8.0 Oreo appeared in 2017 and brought a series of visual changes in the setting menu together with native support for picture-in-picture mode. Android 9.0 Pie was launched in 2018 and brought many improvements on the visual side. With Android 10 was released in 2019. Android 10 removed the navigation button. Dark mode was available at the system level and users have more control over permission for applications. Android 11 was launched in 2020 and it brings changes to notification system. The phone displays a new control center that includes quick access to credit cards, and here you can also find Google Home. Android 12 currently released beta version, but officially it will release shortly. Next topic is hardware. The main hardware platform for Android is ARM with x86 and x86-64 architecture. ARM stands for Advanced RISC Machines. An ARM processor is a CPU built on the RISC based architecture developed by Acorn Computers in 1980s and is now developed by Advanced RISC Machines. ARM CPUs are designed to do a lot of simple tasks at once without needing much power. Since 2012, Android devices with Intel processor began to appear, including phones and tablets. Android devices incorporate many optional hardware components, including video cameras, GPS, orientation sensors, dedicated gaming controls, accelerometers, gyroscopes, barometers, magnetometers, proximity sensors, pressure sensors, thermometers, and touchscreens. Next topic is security and privacy. Android applications run in a sandbox, an isolated area of the system that does not have access to the rest of the system's resources, unless access permissions are explicitly granted by the user when the application is installed. A sandbox is an isolated testing environment that enables users to run programs or execute files without affecting the application system or platform on which they run. Software developers use sandboxes to test new programming code. A Verify apps features was introduced in November 2012 as part of the Android 4.2 Jelly Bean operating system version to scan all apps both from Google Play and from third-party sources for malicious behavior. Before installing an application, the Google Play Store display a list of the requirements an app needs to function. After reviewing this app permission, the user can choose to accept or refuse them, installing the application only if they accept. In Android 6.0 Marshmallow, the permission system was changed. Apps are no longer automatically granted all their specified permission at installation time. Users are prompted to grant or deny individual permission to an app when they are needed for the first time.
Memory management. Since Android devices are usually battery powered, Android is designed to manage the processes to keep power consumption at a minimum level. Because Android stores background applications in a LRU cache. So LRU is a least recently used algorithm. It is very quick algorithm that allows us to quickly identify which item has not been used for the longest amount of time in each process. When the system runs low on memory, it will kill the processes according to the LRU algorithm. Android manages the applications stored in memory automatically. When memory is low, the system will begin invisibly and automatically closing inactive processes. It will start from those processes that have been inactive for the longest amount of time. Why we prefer Android? Because Android devices are cheaper than the iPhone devices. As we all know, the iPhones are more expensive as compared to Android mobile phones. So that is the one of the most main reason why Android phones sell is growing rapidly. Android offers a lot free games and other third-party applications on Google Play Store, while in iPhones we have mostly paid applications on the iPhone's App Store. Even Android users can install custom ROM on their smartphones. So custom ROM is our primary memory, which allows them to replace original software comes with their smartphone. In Android, we have Google integration. So that's why in Android mobile phone, we have pre-installed some Google applications like Google Map, Google Search Engine, Google Play Store, Google Photos, and many more. Last but not least, Android allows you to put a memory card to increase your phone memory. So also we can put the SD card in our Android mobile phones, whereas in iPhone that is not possible. In a nutshell, the Android is a truly open source, free development platform based on Linux and other open source software. It has grown rapidly over the past 10 to 12 years to becoming the most used smartphone operating system, which now used in over 190 countries around the world. And Android is open to all for industry, for users, and as well as developers. Thank you everyone. Especially thanks to our professor. And if someone have any queries, please comment below. Thank you once again.